she's a sports writer, are often surprised to hear her comment on the game. Surprised not just that she's knowledgeable, but that she's even interested in the first place. And if a patron asks the bartender something about sports, they immediately defer to Kavitha, much to the surprise of the guy asking the question. Beyond that, and perhaps more crucially, plenty of sports fans who are Black or brown and or women and or LGBTQ+, and or from other marginal groups have played sports in Pee-wee leagues as children, or on high school teams, or on intramural or recreational teams, and they've experienced discrimination or bigotry as an athlete. When these fans watch collegiate or professional or international sports, they see the same forces at work, just with more prestige, money, and media behind it all. They also see the injustices present throughout our society reflected back in the sports they care about. Players yelling homophobic slurs at opposing players on the pitch, male athletes being marketed exhaustively and paid 100 times more than women athletes, white owners, a loaded term if there ever was one given the racial makeup of America's most profitable sports leagues, exploiting the labor and bodies of Black players. Fans love sports, but it's unclear if sports love them back. You love sports, but do sports love you back? This is the ultimate truth about the long history and the current state of sports and politics. As Kavitha once wrote for ESPNW, when you think about it really, the division between sports and politics has long been eroded. The separation is what takes effort to uphold, and it's mostly done by people whose right to exist in this space isn't questioned. The "stick to sports" mantra has been repeated time and again by fans who view sports as a form of pure escapism, which is understandable. But the reality for many fans and players is that sticking to sports has never really been an option, particularly for people whose mere participation in competition can be seen as a radical act in itself. This also belies history. Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin and upended Hitler's plans to use the Games as a showcase for the supremacy of the Nazi agenda and the Aryan race. John Carlos and Tommy Smith raised their fists on the medal podium at the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City, creating one of the most indelible images in sports and in civil rights history. And the legendary matchup of the underdogs versus Titans at the 1980 Winter Games in Lake Placid between the U.S. men's hockey team and Russia, the Miracle on Ice, became a proxy battle during the Cold War. And so, when the International Olympic Committee, IOC, specifically banned protests, including kneeling and hand gestures, ahead of the Tokyo Summer Olympics, it did so with the intent of upholding sports as an arena of unity, with little acknowledgement of how sports has sowed division. The U.S. women's soccer star Megan Rapinoe's response to this directive: "We will not be silenced." The chapters in this book represent separate moral dilemmas that get at different features of people's sensitivities, whether it's race, gender, class, and trying to minimalize it so you can stay consistent with your team's sport, says Dr. Susan K. Whitburn, a developmental psychologist and professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, who is an expert on the psychology of sports fandom. In the broadest sense, this is cognitive dissonance writ large. You've got competing sets of attitudes, values, and behavior. And in the worst-case scenario, she offers, everything is in conflict, and individual team members are engaging in bad behavior that you cannot condone, and then you try to somehow come up with a way to rationalize it. People are willing to suspend disbelief to allow their identification as a fan to continue unsullied. To be sure, cognitive dissonance isn't unique to sports. It's something music and film fans struggle with too. It's just more intense in sports because of all the other things about fandom. Whitburn contends things like pride in our communities, or early memories of our first game with our grandparents, or the